prove a conspiracy? You need to see people's phones. We live in the 21st century. That's how conspiracies are conducted. That's how conspiracies are conducted.
You have any clue what's on my phone that they took?
Everybody knows a message with Karen Reed on Signal, right? And ours auto delete after 4 hours, right? She set it up that way. I didn't set it up.
How do you prove a conspiracy? You need to see people's phones. We live in the 21st century.
Do you feel like you're an advocate for the defense?
No, sir. That is my best guess. I don't recall from a year ago.
When I asked you to guess and asking for your testimony, did you ever delete texts?
From last year?
Yes.
Yes.
That's how conspiracies are conducted.
Do you feel like you're an advocate for the defense?
No, sir. That is my best guess. I don't recall from a year ago.
When I asked you to guess and asking for your testimony, did you ever delete texts?
From last year?
Yes.
Yes.
We are trying to affect the jury pool. We are. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm.
Everybody knows a message with Karen Reed on Signal, right? And ours auto delete after 4 hours, right? She set it up that way. I didn't set it up.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, hey.
Hey.
Welcome to the Haymakers episode where there will be no haymakers because there never are. Do y'all have popcorn with you today for this?
Tuesday does.
I'm ready. I'm so ready for this.
Awesome.
I was laughing so much backstage listening to him.
I know.
That video was made before all of these Signal messages came out.
Right.
I love how confident they were.
Yeah. Although he was kind of smirking a little bit when he said they were set to auto delete. Maybe he knew something Karen didn't. I don't know.
I don't think he did. He seemed genuinely surprised by the fact that we found Signal messages. Yeah.
I was surprised. I mean, I think that's what everybody has read. You know, that's what everybody's been told. It's an encrypted app. You can't do anything. That kind of makes you wonder about all the Proton emails in this case, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Well, we have 2 sections to go over with you today from the messages that we've seen. And we obviously have not seen everything or know if we've seen everything, but what we did was we put together some things that we have seen that kind of stood out to us, and it's going to be divided into 2 sections, Amy and then Kate. So I am going to start us off. Let's see if I can do this one right. Okay. Go over here and go to slideshow. Okay. So I want to talk about the plates, which is something that really stood out to all of us in these Signal messages. And by plates, I mean the license plates. So you may have heard that there was some controversy about a dispatcher running license plates. And I have put together the sequence of events and the chronology of some of the things that you may have heard a little bit about, but that we got to see in more detail. So I will kick that off. Hang on one second. I cannot see y'all while I'm doing this, so just tell me if there's a message on the screen or something that I need to see. Okay, so we are going to start with the timeline that we have. And just remember, we have not seen everything. This is a massive amount of information. So I'm going to start on 9/15/2023 because I remembered a video that kind of caught my ear at the time, and that was before we knew anything that's going to follow this. So I'll just play this. And please note the sound on this video is very, very quiet. So you'll want to turn up your volume.
To John's vehicle. John's vehicle, I mean, I posted on Facebook like a week ago that I was looking for a plate to be, run. And it was his car. And I'm like, because he's dead, he can't register his car again. Except he did. His car, because people have seen his car being driven around in West Bridgewater, which is the same town that Paul O'Keefe lives in. And we ran the plates, and John renewed his registration when he was dead. So that car was, they keep doing it, and it's just like, I don't know what to think about Paul O'Keefe sometimes. He was. There's a video I posted. It looks like he's swearing at me. He's not. He's swearing at Karen Reed's brother on his way into court, which kind of says all you need to know. I mean, this is what you're doing. You're coming here looking for a fight. You're not even looking for justice for your brother. You don't care about that. All you care about is you just don't like Karen Reed, and you can't get over it, and you're willing to overlook, because you're not that stupid, Paul. I know that. You're not that stupid.
So in that video, he apparently believes a vehicle can only be registered to one person in the entire lifetime of that vehicle. Can never be registered again. And which is interesting. But it's early in the context of what we have about running license plates and the person that ran the plates and got in trouble for it. It's a little bit early, but around this time period, so this week and the following week start to get really busy, as you're going to see in just a second. But the other interesting thing in there is that when he's describing that interaction between Paul and Nathan at the courthouse, there was actually a little argument in the signal messages about that, where he had stated it one way that I think he thought Paul was yelling at him, and he was actually yelling at Nathan, and he and Karen went back and forth a few times, and she's like, no, you're wrong. You need to go listen again. He was talking to Nathan. So I thought that was interesting, as this was from a while ago.
I have a random question real quickly. Why is he in the dark on a picnic bench?
So remember the Star Drive-In fundraisers, all of those fundraisers that they did at the Star Drive-In, which brought in some significant amounts of money into Karen's fund. He was at a Star Drive-In fundraiser.
And into his pocket. Don't forget, too, he was paid for that.
Right.
Right. So, yeah, the Star Drive-In, I think it was $1,500 a pop for him, and then whatever they got for Karen on top of that.
Right. And that was one of the events where they had like all the craft sales. And I remember seeing that in the groups at the time.
Raffles, illegal raffles.
Raffles, selling, bandanas with Karen's face on them, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I think, is that the same video? Rocco's in that one. Is he there as well? Okay. Because he actually does call it raffles when he's speaking.
Oh, interesting. I didn't watch the rest of the video. I was going by the transcript.
Yep.
Interesting. I still have that one bookmarked. I'll have to go back and listen. I mean, they were not shy about saying raffles ever.
Nope.
So why is he running Paul O'Keefe's plate, though?
He was running John O'Keefe's plate.
Wow.
And
right.
He was implying that there was something nefarious about Paul O'Keefe re-registering the vehicle. But it is a question that occurred to me when I was putting this together, because it almost feels like a cover for running some of these other plates, because why would you care who John's vehicle was registered to unless you were playing to the conspiracy of someone had the car repaired kind of thing? I just can't think of another reason for it.
Well, I think that we're looking for some sort of rational reason to these things when it was just pure intimidation and monitoring, right?
Right. But it is the first time that I've seen that he himself is actively asking a person, this is usually taking place on Facebook, to run a license plate for him. Okay, so let us continue. So on 9/17, the Facebook activity starts to pick up. And so you'll see messages from people, a rider here, I can drive by. These all start at the bottom. I'm sorry. They are in chronological order from the bottom to the top. So the first one is, you've certainly piqued my interest at the end of the show because I live in blank. They can run, but they can't hide. Then she sends a photo. Then she says, what are you looking for? A black Ford Edge. And then I can drive by. So he's enlisting help in the Facebook group, and he is receiving it. Scads and scads of it. So on 9/25 is when it starts to get really, really interesting. So start again at the bottom. And this is a signal message from Karen Reed. And it says, did you run the plate? I'm asking someone if it's Jen's daughters. And then she says, yes, right, H. I don't know what that means. How fast can you run that plate? This is kind of big. It's hers. BD just verified. So then, oh, sorry. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, Tom Beatty. Of course, we've got Tom Beatty in here.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just thinking.
Yeah, these people, man.
Do you guys hear that noise, by the way?
Yeah, it sounds like an old-fashioned printer or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it
weird.
is.
Probably Kate's heater.
I'm muted when I'm not speaking. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Weird.
If y'all hear it and it's obnoxious, let me know. I don't hear anything.
Someone's got microphone interference. That's all it is.
Yeah, maybe. So does someone want to provide Tom Beatty context to people who might not be familiar with that name?
Julie, I nominate Julie.
Julie's on a bit of a delay, y'all.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe she.
You guys, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
I was just saying, do you want to provide some context to why Beatty would be giving the tip about the license plate?
Okay.
I think Julie might be having some technical difficulties.
I can give. So Tom Beatty was a friend of, well, I don't know. He was friendly with the McCabe's. He was friendly with, his daughter went to school with some of the Albert McCabe kids. And he was in town. He was friendly with John O'Keefe. And at some point, there was some sort of drama with the kids in the high school involving his daughter. And instead of, staying out of it, dealing with it through the school like a normal adult would, Tom Beatty got right in the thick of it and started taking it out, not only on the kids that he felt were bullying his daughter, but their parents too. So there was pre-built animus between Tom Beatty and other members of the community, among them the McCabe's and Alberts. So when this whole conspiracy thing with Karen started to kind of be built and fleshed out, Tom Beatty was friends with Karen. And so he was somebody who suggested that Colin Albert was in the house and must be the murderer. He would give information about their lives and backgrounds and where they would be and what they do. He would spread rumors. He was very supportive of Karen. He would drive her around. He would take her out. So Tom Beattie tends to be the sort of impetus for a lot of these rumors that are later debunked. Chief among them is he claimed that his daughter was called by Colin Albert to be a getaway driver, and then admitted, at least privately, to Turtle Boy that that's not possible because his daughter didn't have a driver's license.
Yep. Okay, so back to our hot week with the plates. So this famous photograph that was
Lydia, I think it's your microphone. Every time you're talking, it's doing it. Just so you know, it's not too distracting, but
let me just unplug it and plug it back in.
By the way, everyone, today is like the day where nothing goes right. I just want to let you know, like every little thing any of us have done has like gone sideways. So
yeah, sorry
bear
about
with
that.
us. It is.
You just blame hackers in this situation, is what you.
Oh,
yeah,
is that what we do? Okay.
Definitely got hacked.
We got hacked. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been hacked like 13 times today. Okay, is that better?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Seems
unplug
better.
it and plug it back in, man. It's magic.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is a very hot week. So I'm going to start again at the bottom. So we've got people in the Facebook group, and note the one at the very bottom, because she says, I'm logging in now. And you'll see later, she is logging in to run plates. Then there's a blank message. Then the first red arrow says, you missed a call from Janelle. Now, Janelle, as Aidan pointed out last night, was the dispatcher who ran plates for him and got in trouble. And there'll be more on that later. Then we're back to the other person. She says 2 vehicles come up. Janelle says Matt McCabe. This is very, very important. So remember that Janelle called Aidan and Janelle said Matt McCabe. Then the other person says 22 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited for a Matthew McCabe. And then white Jeep. And that is from Janelle. Then back to the other girl, 2018 Ford 150 with a state plate, 2 blank messages. Then the other girl says, do you need anything from RMV before I log off? So RMV is the Registry of Motor Vehicles. So she clearly has some kind of official access to it.
She's an insurance agent. Look above it. This is incredible.
Right.
Not only, but yeah. Okay. All right.
So then she says, shit, he's insured with my company, the person that she just looked up with the Ford, the 2018 Ford F-150. So that's how she's accessing the plate information. So there are all these moving pieces, right? Different people who have jobs that allow them to do this are in these Facebook groups doing all of this. And look at the timestamp. So up at the top, then a guy comes in and he says, what's the plate? Give me 10 minutes. I don't know what his job is, but he obviously can look stuff up as well. So the timestamp here is 6:26 in this long string of people offering to assist. So then over on the left is the photo that made all the rounds on Facebook. And that's at 6:58 p.m. So this information is being provided really quickly to Aidan and to Karen. And what's interesting is that Janelle actually gave an interview, and I'm going to play a part of the interview, but I'm going to set it up for you first. In the interview, she says that she didn't even know who she was running the plates for. But she obviously did in that conversation that you saw just prior to this. But then later in the interview, she says she did know, and she battled between the ethics of doing something like that at her job and what she considered to be the moral choice of running these plates and proving that there was some kind of conspiracy. Then Ginny on the left told me that Karen Reed's Venmo account only has 5 actual friends, even though people used it for donations, to her fund. But there are only 5 people who are her friends on there. And the dispatcher is one of them, which we just found interesting. I'm not saying anything for all the turnips out there who are going to say, I'm saying that she was paid to run the plates. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's interesting that she'd be connected on Venmo to a random dispatcher in Avon who eventually gets in trouble with the state police, and Aidan actually gets charges as a result of this. So let me play the video. This is the interview.
Call from.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Janelle. Like, I did that on my own, I didn't know whose plates I didn't know who I was running, nothing. I just did it because I was all for the cause. And I was like, they had to pull my CGIS reports. And once that CGIS report, once you put something into CGIS, it's fucking in CGIS. It's stamped in there. It ain't going anywhere. It's undeniable. You can't hide it. It happened. It was there, But so they pulled like a stack of my CGIS reports. Those were the only plates I had ever run, like without authorization. And for me, I was like struggling in my home life with like an ethical and ethical and moral, my morals, and my morals beat the ethics when it came to that job, because my morals were, I can't let this fucking girl
sometimes
be railroaded because these guys are scumbags. So to like be working in a town where those are your CPAC guys and they're shady and you're seeing it all, and I don't work side by side with them, but like those are the guys that did my death investigations, and to know that they were fucking shady as fuck. Wow. And under no circumstance would a witness in a murder investigation be at the lead detective's personal residence where his wife and children reside.
That makes no sense at all. That's super shady.
No, it's like
completely.
Could you imagine? Like, even that would be like even somebody getting a speeding ticket and knowing the cop and going and knocking at their door and being like, "Hey, man, you think you can get that ticket wiped out? I shouldn't have been going fast." Like that's wrong on every level. You'd have a report. They would call the police on you. But for her to be inside their house,
kicking it
in a unbelievable.
So any comments on that?
I love how many leaps she took as far as what she believed Jen was doing at Proctor's house in order to justify her morals. My morals would tell me I don't do something that my job does not allow me to do. But they have justifications for everything. Yeah.
My morals would tell me that government property is not to be used to conduct surveillance on private citizens, but I'm just not a huge fan of government corruption. I don't know. And I think it's interesting too, if you go back to the messages, they didn't need to run the plates. Tom Beatty had already confirmed that was Jen's car, right?
Yep.
So there's no need to run the plates unless you want to get extra intimidation-y about it and be able to say, we can run your plates too.
But for me, it was just that how can you have a moral/ethical stance on the case or whatever this cause was and simultaneously not know whose plates you were running for said cause?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just doesn't work.
Oh, that's a very good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
So, and I chopped that up to where she was just talking about that because there was a lot of other stuff in that video, but it was just edited for clarity for any conspiracists out there. So we're still on 925, and I cannot overestimate how busy 925 was. So let's start at the bottom. Somebody volunteering, I'm 15, 20 minutes out. If that works, what do you need? What do you need pictures of? What do you need pictures of, Aidan? Sounds like you got something good coming. And what's so funny about this is like, he's not doing anything. Like all these people in this Facebook group are doing all this legwork. And then Karen says, we need another photo of that house. Then somebody, I don't really understand this message. I'm not attributing any significance to it. It says the timeline changed after she was grand juried. I think that's related. Sometimes these Facebook messages are coming in all mixed into other messages, so they don't necessarily mean anything. So don't read anything into that. I didn't. And then Karen says, just ask someone to take a ton of photos, as many as they can. Also on 923, starting at the bottom, Karen reacts to, this is in Signal, so this is between Karen and Aidan. So Aidan is responding to this string of instructions from Karen, and he says, working on it, and she reacts to it. I'm assuming she hearts it or something like that. Then Karen says, God, I hope they're panicking about the feds. There's nothing happening with the case right now that would warrant them getting together, except the fact that, just normal life things happen. Then there's another
Witness
message.
intimidation. That's what it was, though. It was witness. They were absolutely trying to figure out what they were going to do to protect their families.
Yes, and commiserating over that coming to pass.
It's
Then there is
weird to see the psychology behind this, right?
Yeah.
They've like filled in all these gaps and have created this like tribe of like their hero. There's these secret undercover heroes that are going to like get the government and catch them. It's so wild to see this play out.
Yeah, it really is. Then there is, I don't know what these blank messages mean. Again, I'm not Ian Whiffen. I have no idea why you would just get a blank Facebook Messenger message. I will say, though, that is not an unsent message, because we see a lot of unsent messages, particularly around one time period, which we can talk about later. But this is not an unsent message. Just for some reason, it's blank, and I don't know why. If you know why, please put it in the comments. Then someone reacted to a message in TV
hold
Live.
on, Lydia. Lydia, that message isn't blank.
It's
not.
It says sure.
It says sure. Janelle is saying sure. So he's.
Oh, sorry. You're right. I'm just blind. It says sure.
Yeah.
I was hacked, Kate. So
I know.
There are blank ones though. Like I know
there
why
are
you
many blank.
thought that. Yeah.
Yes. And I am nearsighted. So then this person says, you got what you need. Deb reacts to a message in TB Live, which I'm assuming is a Facebook group. And it says, these people all claim they want to help and then cry about being scared. So I did not put this message in there because it was just, I'm going to be showing you 7,000 messages, but there is a message that somebody said, I can't even take this picture. My hands are shaking because I'm so scared, like surveilling random citizens, taking pictures of their houses. So that's what she was complaining about. Then someone sends a photo. Then on the next page, we are still on the same date. The person who had the RMV access says, yeah, just send me them. Karen, it reacts. This is so interesting to me. So Karen reacts to a message that Aidan sent that says, what if they've just become friends? So I interpreted this to mean, what if that's the reason the cars were over there? What if they become friends? Because it wouldn't be the first time he asked a really, really logical question.
Right.
So she reacts to it. But again, that's inference. That's not.
I'd love to know what the reaction was. Was it a thumb down, an angry face? What was it?
Right. The middle finger or something like
middle
that.
finger.
Yeah. So then a little helper says, darn, second one didn't come out. And then somebody says, now it's back at her house. So they're seeing these cars coming and going so much that they're recognizing them and saying, oh, well, this one's back at the house, which is just weird and creepy. And then somebody says, there was a guy in the window. So they're looking in the windows of the houses. Then here's an example of a blank message. Then somebody says, you better have 5 groupies parked up the street with binoculars to go get all the intel. See the little secret squirrels? We got to dress in trench coats and go get all the info. And then this is the microdots guy. He says, if I need to rush to Canton, please let me know. I can be there in 25 minutes. He sends a lot of messages like, please just take me along on this adventure. I'm dying to go.
I think we need to call him Minuteman. Remember in the war, like back in the day, the Minutemen, they were just ready to go.
Yep. He is always ready.
Yeah, he's such a pick me.
Yeah.
He's an enthusiastic stalker for sure.
Yeah.
And he doesn't try to hide it. He does not try to hide it. He makes it very obvious he's happy to do this.
Yeah. So then the top message is the only car there. And there was an address up there. So I left that out. And then I just went by the Proctors. And just so you know, this is not Shauna the Golf. This is someone else. I just went by the Proctors. There were no cars there at 6:45 that are out of the ordinary. JLYK. I got a tip also. So we're getting tips too, these group members. Then someone sends a photo. Then the dispatcher says it's a canceled lease and sends a photo. And then there is another address. So I blocked that out.
Do we know what she's talking about, Lydia, when she's saying it's a canceled lease? Do we know what she's talking about?
I assume the vehicle. I'm assuming, I don't know, but I'm assuming the vehicle that she looked up.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Was if they have access to that kind of information, maybe Comm Center can say. By the way, Comm Center did comment about this, and this is so funny because this almost defeated the transcript. I was like, what do I search for? But this is what CJIS stands for. It's Criminal Justice Information System. That's where the plates were being looked up for that particular person. So now we are starting at the bottom again, 2 cars, but I don't believe they're McCabe's. You want me to get pictures of plates. I live 2 minutes away. I send to you in 10 minutes, K. Then 2019 Toyota RAV4. And this information, so this communication with this person starts at 7:05:51. Obviously, Aidan relays that back to Karen because at 7:06:56, she asks, all the cars have left Proctor's, ? And then the same person says, one is a white Explorer. Do you have any more? Did anybody send pics? I'm sorry. I guess I messed up. I went up and down the street 3 times. There definitely was not a white Jeep on the street. So they've been given the descriptions of all of these vehicles, which where do you think those came from? The descriptions of who was driving what? Anybody want to guess?
Beatty.
Yeah, it has to be somebody who knows them.
A townie.
Yeah, or somebody. So then down at the bottom, there's more car information. There's a 4Runner, and then this person says Michael Proctor. Gives a town name, and then she says, I will try again and use my GPS this time, another car name. And then the dispatcher says, just got a 911, stand by. So you're actively in the dispatch center when this is going on, when you're looking up. And I don't know, this is a perfect, we should have had the Comm Center on for this because I don't know what it's like. I don't know if you have a ton of downtime or what, but I just found that kind of interesting. Then photo says, yes, Leslie. And then I thought she had a Wagoneer, but maybe this was the other Jeep in the driveway. Then there are, and these are all in a row, so you can tell where I haven't chopped them up. So this is 6 messages in a row in just a few minutes from Karen. There's a photo, and then it says Carrie Roberts gray Ford Explorer or Morrissey. That's what someone is saying. It also looks identical to Carrie's car. And then she says, when was that? The point is that no one is using their phones. I don't know if I understand that point.
I think she's saying because they're meeting at a house talking, that they're purposely, again, she's assuming she knows what they're talking about.
Right.
And they're purposely they're meeting so that they don't have to use their phones.
Right. Then it's finally 9. What?
So just to set up a meeting where you're not using the phones, you would have to use the phones. Just
Right.
so I mean,
Exactly. Otherwise, how do you do it?
Right.
Is it a flare? Is this something we need to know? Good point. Okay. So yeah, we're finally on 9:26. So someone says, Ash sent you the video. I couldn't make the plate out, but she has a dark gray SUV and Kurt drives a red pickup truck. And then Karen says, when was that photo of the Jeep? Today on Carey Street. So Karen's trying to like pull all these threads together. You know, was Jen at Carey's? Was Jen at, you know, Michael Proctor's, all this stuff, and just try to make something out of it. So then she says, no luck on Carey's car. I have interested parties. Who are the interested parties?
Yeah, what does that mean? What is she saying there?
Is it the attorney?
I think she's talking
don't know
about the
who else
feds.
would be interested.
Oh, Julie, yeah, maybe the
Well, but
feds.
interested in what though? Interested in running the plate, interested in taking pictures, interested in slashing the tires. Like she's very nondescript with what she wants to do with all this information. You can fill in the blanks.
Yeah, I think the most logical one would be, if you're not getting this done, I have someone who can. That's what, I mean, that would make sense.
That could be it. Yeah.
And then how'd she return the Kurt info? So she's trying to figure out how they figured out that was Kurt's. So then she says, it would be great to have a clear photo of the car in daylight to show the detail. Are you going to have a blog on this? So this is all within 2-3 minutes. So of course he produces a blog, like the good little blogger that he is. Immediately that evening, he produces a blog with the photo in question, right? So she's like, I don't like this photo. It's not in daylight. I can't see the detail. And then she says, are any of Proctor's neighbors friendlies? So she's asking, do we have, you know, free Karen Reed people that live near Michael Proctor? And she says, want to monitor that house. So she wants to set up surveillance of Michael Proctor's house. And it would be helpful if there were people nearby who were friendlies.
Going back to that, she actually said detail. She wanted a better picture so you could see the decal.
Decal, yes. So she, and she will clarify that.
Okay, all right. I'll wait for my comment then. I'll keep going.
It gets under her skin. I'll say that.
Okay.
Okay. So then she says, a photo of the car would show the decal. I had one from court last spring and now I can't fucking find it.
So hold on. That means she's been photographing Carrie Roberts' car since the spring in the court.
Or someone has.
Right.
So this is now, we're in September 2023. So when she says last spring, she's talking 2022?
Right. Why is she photographing the cars of the witnesses against her? Again, like at court, nonetheless, right? And
it could have been spring of 2023. But either way, it was spring.
Right, but before there's any controversy over who's parked where at whose house or anything, she's photographing the cars of the witnesses against her, right? That at court, right? And I think it was Aidan Kearney who clarified the other day that it's definitely witness intimidation if it happens at court, right? So I mean, why is she? But seriously, what purpose does a defendant have to photograph the license plates and vehicles of witnesses against them in court? What good purpose is there? Right. There's none. And so we see a continuation of this behavior here now in September 2023. But here she is in a message stating that she's been doing this for at least a year. Right.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
I mean, and this is the wild thing is they created their own monster. You know, they were intimidating these witnesses and stalking them, and the witnesses were bonding over this abuse, right? You know, Jen McCabe and Proctor's wife. I mean, they created this problem themselves. It's so wild.
Yeah. And just weird.
And creepy. It's all creepy.
Yeah. It's
Very creepy.
So then immediately follows up with, can you run a plate for me? Been at Proctor's sister's house along with other cars that aren't normally there. So what this says to me is she is also getting intel from people that Aidan is not getting intel from, right? Because she's telling him there's a car there that isn't normally there. He's not telling her that. Then she sends a photo. So someone sent her a photo, or she took a photo, got an MSP sticker on the back. And here's the comment I was talking about, Jenny. I swear these people join law enforcement just for the fucking decals and hoodies. She's mad about the decals.
Such a freak.
Yeah. Wow. Weirdo.
The reason, what I was going to say about the decal, like why she was asking for a clear picture, you know, she's asking for a clear picture and then also asking him to do a blog about it. So in my mind, what I'm thinking is she wants a clear picture of the decal so people can see it better. They will recognize that vehicle if it's driving around town. And, you know, she'll have more people taking pictures, more people hunting them down, tracking them down. I mean, that's what I get from that message.
Yeah. And also you can just instantly group together and dehumanize and turn them into sneeches by saying they all like decals on their vehicles. They, you know.
Yeah, that's so ridiculous. Yeah, they're risking their lives every day in the line of duty for a decal and a sweatshirt. Sure.
Right. Taking down the Craigslist killer, but you know what? I did it for the decal.
Oh, Lord. Okay, so then someone says, no, I asked. They said, no, sorry. I would if I could. They'd discuss with Karen Reed's defense team if needed. I think they are just nervous. So that reads like perhaps someone else asked someone to run a plate and they were like, no, we're nervous. We have morals and ethics, and maybe we won't do that. So then the other person says, okay, hang on. And then someone else says, clarifying the phone seen through the invisible body, as in McCabe's previous statement. I have no clue what that means.
Yeah, I don't.
Do we have an invisible body now? I don't know what's going on. I don't know if she's referring to like the morning that John was found or what, because all of these messages are happening while he's doing lives or there are discussions in the Facebook groups. So there's a lot of context that, you know, we don't have, and these messages are just coming in mixed in with the other messages. So it may mean nothing. So then someone sends a photo. Then the RMV person says 2018 Lexus for Karen Proctor. And also says, ha ha ha, it sure is. Now your Facebook will blow up even more if you post another update. And then Karen says, you're the man. So I guess he's posting these things in the group kind of live.
Well, what he's doing, it looks like, is he gets the information. Now they have put Michael Proctor's sister's house under surveillance, and they are running all the plates in her driveway. They pull up the plates for Michael Proctor's mother, and now he's telling Karen Reed what Michael Proctor's mother is driving, because that's super important when you're investigating this case, to know what the investigator on your case's mother drives around, so you know where she is. And then Karen Reed is happy about that. You're the man. Thank you for letting me know what the lead investigator on my case's mother drives.
I can't.
Wild.
I really can't.
I know. Okay, so then Karen says they send Proctor's wife outside to go deal with her for 30 minutes. And I believe, based on the photo that he posted on his blog, where there's a woman standing next to Carrie's vehicle, that's what she's referring to. She saw that photo and she's like, oh, they sent his wife out there to deal with her for 30 minutes. So then she says, I don't think I need it quite at this point. What we'd, and I pointed that out with an arrow, love is for someone to do surveillance on, and then there's an address, which is Michael Proctor's address, tonight. So she says, oh, that's right. Can you take a swing by Proctor's and see if there's a public sidewalk or any public property near his house? We really need surveillance set up. Please, please don't breathe a word of this. And whatever you do, don't post your phone extraction on the internet. We need a public area to set it up, ideally. And I'm assuming that we draw the line at setting up surveillance of state troopers by camping out on private property.
Well, it's not ideal, but
right.
She doesn't sound like it's off the table. It's just like ideally it's public, but we'll work around it.
She's having a crisis of moral.
Yeah,
a moral crisis there.
Okay, so we have another big long stream. Yes, 2019 Ford Explorer is what came up for Kurt Roberts. That was the Lexus you sent me, but not for a Lizzie. It was for Karen. I don't know what that means. Then people saying Dateline will be there. There are 9,305 houses in Canton, and somebody just happened to purchase from Proctor's mom in 2010, like just weird conspiracy stuff. How much more freaking evidence is needed? Oh my God, this state is ridiculous. Good week to go then. And then some stuff from Richie. And then at the top, Karen says, try to go by. And it gives Carrie Roberts' address. And it says, get a pic of that cow's Explorer. So then there's a picture and it says, but not the plate. And the person says, when did you hear about Carrie? That's wild. Perfect. Thank you. I got so caught up in figuring shit out. I forgot to put the car up. Appreciate. Free Karen Reed. Fuck yeah. They're going to have to end up meeting in parks without their phones and covering up. So they're just gleefully saying they're driving, the Proctors and the Alberts and the McCabe's into parks for their clandestine meetings.
And they're going to send up smoke signals to know that they're supposed to meet in the park.
Or maybe telepathy. I don't know. Then is that a new phone pole in their front yard? It wasn't there in July.
What? That's Vento. I'm going to give it away. That's Victoria Vento. I know just from reading the message.
I mean, do you take note of those things? And you're like, is that a new phone pole? That's the weirdest.
Can you imagine if somebody was doing this to like Aidan Kearney? Like, let's pretend that like it's me and Meredith O'Neill taking the place of Karen Reed and Aidan Kearney here. And we're just back and forth all day plotting and planning to send people to survey his house, his ex-wife's house, his parents' house, take pictures of the plates, send more people there. I mean, he would call the FBI on us.
Oh, yeah.
Like right now. Like, I mean, this is stalking. This is absurd.
It is stalking. So then Karen says, I hate to do this to you, but we're positive that's Proctor Street where Carrie was. There's a wooden fence to the right of his house and the mailbox that has that iron decoration. So Karen knows exactly what Michael Proctor's house looks like, down to remembering what kind of fence he had. Oops. And then it's from the other direction, says the person getting the photographs. You can see their gray car, tree, and there's a telephone pole close on the other side of their house. And then she corrects that to there. So Karen, then this repeats, actually. This is the same message, try to go by Carrie's house. And then someone says, perfect, thanks, man. Sent 5 photos. And then this person says, you should tell Karen there's no such thing as a 7.6. It's version 7.61. Just an easy inaccuracy to point out when someone is on the stand to discredit the report. What report? The report from the secret squirrels of the surveillance of random citizens' houses?
I think that's the Celebrite version.
Yeah, they're probably just...
Oh, so they were watching a video or something.
Yeah.
He'll get messages in from all sorts of like these Dunning-Kruger effect idiots that like are experts in nothing and want to give their 2 cents. Like that's interspersed through all his messages. There's just these people. Again, we've been going through this this extraction report for like a week now. I still haven't found any other sources of information outside of Karen Reed. Have you?
No,
no,
absolutely not.
Right.
So then we have, when are you putting this out there? I asked a few people about it, and then I gave my word I wouldn't put this out there in the group. Then Karen says, I can't tell exactly what those cars are, but here's her gray Explorer. Some of these like overlap from page to page so that I can keep the continuity. So then Karen says, after seeing the photos, same dual exhaust. So see this on Carrie's car. Again, not something I would really notice. So then there's a photo. I think it's just in CC now. I think I'll stay off our page until you report. I don't think the people that release the info have the plate number. They just drove by because, again, this is a terrible picture of the plate. And then photos. I gave it to somebody and somebody else before I gave it to you. Told the make and model to one other person, but they don't have the license plate number. Me and Sean are waiting for you to put it out. Our group has been told to stand down on the info. If I see it, I'll try to pull it. So this one, these are in sections. So the bottom is really at the bottom this time, but this is the day that the dispatcher is contacted by the police. So this person says, call Tom DeRozier, Tom CPU.
Oh, God.
And then there's just a random text in between. And then it says they went into the system and found out, do not repeat this. Jonelle's phone was confiscated by police due to running a plate number. To which Karen says, why the fuck did she turn her phone over? We don't do that. And she also says the police can look up a plate and see everyone who has run that plate. John used to look up mine all the time to see which cops were running it, which numerous law enforcement people on our pages have said is not true. So in response to this, Jess Machado says, I have a trusted person who can run plates if you need them in the future. So not sure if that's the FBI guy that she refers to or who she's talking about there. But what we found out last week is that in Janelle's interview, she asserts that the Massachusetts State Police gave her a fake warrant. And there was no warrant for her phones. We confirmed that. She handed her phones over voluntarily when asked by the police. And it took a couple days to extract them. I think she said she got them on a Wednesday, or she turned the phone over on a Wednesday. It was returned to her on Friday because it was such an old phone that they had a hard time getting software to extract the phone. But she did not get a fake warrant. She didn't get a warrant at all. They asked her for her phone and she turned it over. So here are the stories about her being placed on leave. They don't mention her name in here, so I didn't put her last name anywhere, even though Aidan said it last night, but they don't mention it in here. She was placed on leave. Turns out she was never arraigned or indicted. Aidan says that he was on 3 charges related to this, but that they were later dismissed.
And this just goes to show, this is why all this shit about, like, I was Karen Reed's voice. Like, I was her voice, right? So, like, people like, you know, she doesn't owe you anything. You didn't do anything for her. I was literally her voice. Like, what are you talking about? This proves it. The antis are proving this. That, like, I literally, like, she's like, it would be really cool if you said this, and then I fucking say it.
Stunning admission. Stunning.
It's wild.
I just love that we've been saying this for years, and he's been like, that's a lie. They're lying. They're just making this up. They'll never be able to prove that. And then when he...
Oh, no.
We lost her.
She's
Kate,
gone.
we lost
somehow.
you.
Like, I mean, it's just crazy. It's good. The that we have said that he has later had to go back and admit were true, and like people still trust him somehow.
Yeah.
And so
It's a
all of
weird-
this ends up in a motion as well in November. Remember, they went for Jen McCabe's phone, more records, and Liz Proctor's and Michael Proctor's. So this all ends up in a motion. And interestingly enough, nothing came of that, right? Nothing. They did get Jen's records. I can't remember about Liz or Michael's, but they did get Jen's, and there was nothing there. So all the people that are saying this is normal and that they were fighting corruption, these people in these messages, there was no corruption found. So they weren't fighting anything. They were being weirdos.
It is weird to go back and put all this in the timeline of things that I think everybody suspected were going on, but you know, we couldn't say they were true. We didn't have any evidence of that. So that's interesting. So now we are going to switch to the Kate portion of the program. Kate, I hope you got to hold your phone just right. You were cutting out a little bit there.
Sorry, no, that's why I turned the camera off, because I'm like swinging it around trying to make sure that we stay connected here. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
My poor eyes. Okay.
I know. Page 1. Is that better?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
So these are sequential as well?
Yes, they are. But it'll do the same thing. They start at the bottom and go up.
Yeah. So we have Karen here saying, please, please, please don't mention this in any way. They wouldn't hand it over to us, so we called the feds. And I think that's interesting, right? What are they talking about? Well, one thing would be...
Uh-oh, you're breaking up.
The feds got them anyway. That's...
Kate, you're breaking up.
How about now?
You're breaking up.
Wherever you were 10 minutes ago, go back there.
Yeah, go back to wherever you were.
This is just so wild, you guys.
It is.
I'm so sad for the witnesses. They were literally being stalked from day one.
Yep. I mean, how gross. Can you imagine if you were one of these witnesses and you saw this, you know, you're Carrie Roberts, people are following you around. I mean, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't.
But that's the thing, and that's like, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
That's really like, you know, when we're looking at this, and Free Karen Reed is kind of lobbing back this weak excuse of like, well, she's doing her own investigation. Number one, she had private investigators. But number two, like, the wider context of this is by now in September especially, right? Like the witnesses have already gone to the police, the courts, the prosecution. It's widely known that they are very, very distressed by all these people following them around, right? Like it's no secret at all that they are very distressed by this. So really, I think that it becomes less of an issue of like, oh, this is an investigation, and more of like, this is intimidation, because they're aware. You know, Kearney makes the comment, now I know how much this is bothering to you. We're just going to do it more, you know? So it really is, in my opinion, you know, targeted and coordinated intimidation, because like being one of the witnesses and seeing these messages up on the internet, this doesn't tell them anything they didn't already know. Like they knew that a bunch of people were following them around the entire time.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
gross.
they knew. They saw
creepy.
cars slowing down, taking pictures. The witnesses knew this, and they're telling people seeking help, and no one's helping them. They're treated like the enemy, even in the media. The media abuse. The wild thing is too is the corruption that these people are acting like exists. They're the corruption. They're the ones abusing media, abusing a platform to spread a narrative. They're the ones that are abusing their role, running plates. They're the ones doing these things to innocent people. and they're doing it thinking they're being the valiant ones, that they're being the heroes. I mean, this looks absolutely crazy. Like, are there drugs in your water crazy? That's what this looks like.
Yeah, it's there aren't even words. And I mean, think about it. They may have recognized some of the people. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for them. I don't know if they recognized any of the people that were following them around. But imagine leaving your house and being followed by people you have no clue who they are. You don't know if they're dangerous, if they're carrying weapons, if what their intentions are besides just taking pictures of your car and your family. You have your children with you. And Free Karen Reed tries to shove all of this off like it's no big deal, and they deserved it. They got what they deserved. Nobody deserves this. I would not even, I mean, I've said it before, we've all said it. We wouldn't even wish this on Karen Reed. Nobody deserves that type of fear.
Ginny, the point too is that you just reminded me of is, remember the FBI when the two guys walked up to Jen and they're like, "Hey, are you Jen McCabe?" And she's like, "No." I mean, this just goes to show you that of course they're not just going to be willingly, saying this is me to random strangers.
Yeah.
And when they did make the phone call, the official phone call, she immediately was like, "Come on over," of course.
Right.
Well, I think you don't have to look much farther than, again, Karen Reed's admitted mouthpiece, her voice, who, if we recall a few months ago, comes up with this story. And I don't know if it's true or not. I'm assuming it's not, but let's pretend that it is. And he says that every time that he goes out, he gets a text, indicating that somebody knows where he is, but he doesn't know who it is. And it's so scary. And can you imagine being followed like that? And it's terrifying. It's intimidation. That's literally what they're doing here. And it's so many people, this revolving door of just these people that are all being coordinated. Now we know definitively by Aidan Kearney and Karen Reed, right? Like, they're not going out and doing this on their own. They're being solicited to do it, and then they're reporting back with the results. This is a conspiracy, right? This is cooperative. This is an infrastructure that they've created. Surely that would be distressing for just about anyone. You don't like, because it's that unknown. There's no real rhyme or reason to it, why these people would be following you all the time. There's no legitimate investigative value. Case in point, almost none of this came up at trial, and even less was reported to be part of the jury's deliberations, right? Like, this means absolutely nothing. This is not investigating anything, but it sure is doing a great job at intimidating these people, scaring them, upsetting their lives, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. It's horrendous. It's unfathomable.
And if any of those people are listening, go ahead, Julie.
No, it's okay. I mean, it was just the way she referred to Carrie about her car. Like, you're just such a nasty, nasty woman. You're a horrible human being. What did Carrie ever do to her? Nothing.
But that she didn't do anything for her either. And I think that's the bigger issue for Karen, right? Is that she didn't help. She didn't cover up. She didn't do any of the stuff that Karen would have liked her to do. She didn't take Karen's side. And I think that, when we're looking at these messages here too, it gives a little bit of insight into, sort of what's going on with the feds here, right? Because she doesn't want him to mention it. They wouldn't hand it over to us, so we called the feds. I'm assuming that she means phones. You can't say anything like there may now be a fourth member of the Albert family who drives a Ford Edge. I just wouldn't want you posting today and tomorrow and the feds think we told them and then shared it with you. What do you think that could mean?
It seems pretty clear on its face.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then if you take the context of the feds are taking Turtle Boy blogs to grand jury, it almost seems like Karen Reed wants to put this information out twice. She wants to call the feds and report it, and then she wants the Turtle Boy blog behind her to corroborate it. But she's pretending that it's a completely different source of information. Oh my gosh, I told you this. And then look, Turtle Boy's reporting it too. That's two people telling you the same story, and we don't have anything to do with each other.
Yep.
And I could have sworn there was a story in which he said now a fourth member of the family had a Ford Edge, but I didn't have time to look it up today, so I can't.
He did, but I'm sure after she gave him the okay to do it. Right? Because it was just, she didn't want it the 17th or the 18th posted. At some point, of course, she wants it posted. She wants it all posted.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then when he does post something, she says, "I'd rather you didn't say it was Kevin's neighborhood. I really don't want to piss off the feds or blow it up before they can get over there. Kevin Albert will know when he sees the photo." So now they've placed Kevin Albert under surveillance as well.
Unbelievable.
Why does it seem like the feds are also her investigators? Why does it seem like there's a relationship like that between Karen Reed and the federal government? That is really bizarre.
It is bizarre.
Yeah, that's how it seems to me too. I mean, remember when we were talking about the feds the other night with Levy, or no, was it Deech? I can't remember which one, but basically like digging information, digging up information for her to be able to use.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got Facebook groups. Aidan, who, whatever, he really didn't do much. He just put the information together that everybody gave him. But I mean, all of these people, including the federal government, digging up information for Karen Reed for her conspiracy. It's just wild.
You could also read it as they had some suspicions that she was telling him what to say, just the way that one comment reads. Because why would the feds, if she says the feds will think we told them and then shared it with you, would the feds be reading Turtle Boy's blog and then putting the dots together? And if so, why weren't they doing that?
Yeah.
Any way you look at it, it's not okay. I mean, it's any way you read it, this is the corruption is right here. It's right here.
And then again, also, she is throughout these messages telling Kearney what to do. That thing that he claims no one does. This is what she does in every message. So if we go to the next page, I guess. Yep. So here we go from the bottom at their son's football game. This is Brian and Coco. She's talking about Brian Albert and Nicole Albert. 1000% sends a photo, presumably of Brian Albert and Nicole Albert, you know, because again, through this whole thing, she is sending biographical information about the witnesses against her constantly. Do you have Sarah Levinson's address? Right now, we're getting more witnesses involved. I'll get you Sarah Levinson's, address, Turtle Boy, if you don't have it already. Then she sends back, that's Coco's email, Nicole Albert's email, because, you know, how are you going to intimidate and harass witnesses if you don't have their contact information? Karen Reed will take care of that. Then she tells the most bizarre lie that I've ever seen. So Philip Dubé on Court TV, love the guy. I think he's like real, like, you know, he calls balls and strikes. He's charming, charismatic. He's a musician, which I like. Karen Reed doesn't like him too much though, because he's too objective. So she tells Aidan Kearney this bizarre story about how Philip Dubé came on to Alan Jackson once. I'm going to presume from the context that in her made up story, it didn't go well for Philip Dubé. He got turned down by Alan Jackson. And so therefore he hates him now. So I actually posted this to Twitter and I tagged Philip Dubé because he actually follows me on Twitter. I was like, yeah, I don't believe this story. And he confirmed it is a complete lie. He's never even met Alan Jackson before. So he's never even had the opportunity to comment onto him, which I don't think it would happen, but it's impossible because they've never even met before. So just another bizarre lie that Karen tells people. Why? I don't know. I think she's pathological.
Well, maybe what I got on Court TV and said something negative.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Either Twitter, Court TV, something. Philip probably said something negative and she had to turn it into, oh, well, this is why he doesn't like me or he doesn't believe our story.
Right, because Alan Jackson turned him down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
why does she make up these weird like sex-based rumors?
I don't think
Like,
Alan would
swinger
turn him
thing came
down.
from her. She said that
Tuesday.
Oh yeah, you're right.
She said that Brian and Jen were having an affair. What is wrong with
Yeah.
this woman where she is making up these stories about sex? Like, it's bizarre.
So weird.
Confession through projection, as they say. Yeah. Here's one. Hold on. I can't see it on behind Nosy's comment.
Oh, let me take that down.
That's okay.
Sorry
That's all
about
right.
that.
So this one, she says, I can't fight every battle because I don't trust these people not to share what I send them. And I can't involve the lawyers for the reasons we agreed about yesterday. Right. So they had a conversation the prior day and they agreed on reasons why the lawyers can't be involved in what they're doing, which is always the hallmark of people doing nothing wrong when you can't even involve your attorneys. Then she goes on to say, or mentally, it was just a massive power move by Lally. He confirmed with the lawyers that they are investigating my breaking bail term. I'm sure he loved that phone call, having Alan beg him not to arrest me. This is when she went over to One Meadows Ave with I think it was with 2020. She's the one who instructed the driver to go to One Meadows Ave, actually wrote down on a piece of paper the address for him because he didn't speak great English, directed him to the house. They get to the house. They drive up to the house. She's sitting in car in front of the house. One of the neighbors sees it, takes a picture, calls the police because she's not supposed to go anywhere near the O'Keefe family during the pendency of her trial. So the DA investigates this, finds out that, yeah, she did go there and it was 100% her doing. And they have a conversation with the lawyers. Now, Karen seems convinced that they were going to arrest her. They never even moved to revoke her bail. So that's a lie, right? If they wanted to revoke her bail, she clearly broke her bail conditions, right? And they would have taken it to the judge and they would have asked the judge to revoke the bail. It would not be a secret. This is not something that is done behind closed doors. It is a motion that is filed. It goes to the judge. The judge makes a decision based on their discretion and the law. That never happened. So she's telling Kearney this, and I believe that she probably was worried about her bail being revoked because she knows that she violated the conditions of her bail, right? But what this shows you is that at this time, the government is not frothing at the mouth to put her in jail because they didn't even bother to move to revoke her bail. And they had every right to because she did violate the conditions. Her reaction to this shows that she knew she violated the conditions, yet the state doesn't do anything with it, right? Because they weren't out to get her.
Exactly. And Lally, can you imagine, like, if it was reversed, Alan Jackson would go in and make this big circus show about, someone breaking bail if he was the prosecutor, right?
Right.
And it just goes to show, it's like Lally did this with full integrity. They were not after Karen Reed for no reason. It's just wild how they handled the case so differently between the prosecution and the defense.
And this is interesting. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I find this interesting too when we look at this sequentially, because we have her talking about how, Jackson is begging them not to arrest her. And then 3 minutes later, she reacts to a message that Kearney has sent. And what Kearney has sent her is, tell me about it. They're still asking Lucky how I remembered his phone call, right? And so we know that he wiretapped Lucky Loughran. We know this. And clearly Karen does too, because she reacts to this, but they're joking about it. So they're talking about breaking the law and the stress that comes with that and kind of commiserating and joking around about it. And then she goes on to say, tell me about it. Nick filled me in on some stuff and then told me Sean is basically telling everyone he works for my lawyers. There's messages in here. Sean on the Gulf, if you're listening, Karen did nothing but talk shit about you the whole time. She thinks you're a lunatic.
Yeah, that is undisputed.
Then she goes on to say, what the fuck is he talking about? Do you think this is related to me getting arrested or something else? So she's still worried about being arrested. This is the same day, so worried about the bail terms. And then this is interesting too. Okay, so this is from 9/27. This is the day that Aidan Kearney goes down to the select board meeting in Canton, and they're holding the signs and harassing Chris Albert, right? Now, I didn't send it over, but we can see in the messages, Karen tells him there's a select board meeting tonight. And then he shows up, right? Then he shows up. So when this happens, what ends up happening is Kearney chases Chris Albert down a hallway when he's trying to lose the meeting out to the parking lot. Chris Albert gets in his car and he wants to leave, but he can't because Kearney and his cronies have surrounded his vehicle and are screaming at him and not moving away so that he can leave. Mm-hmm. So understanding this, now Karen Reed is not as happy about it now as she was then, because we can say she's saying she's apparently worried now she's going to get arrested. Angela just sent me a message about that blonde woman being worried now. So some of the women that were there that were involved in this intimidation of a witness, that's what it was, right? They're screaming, you can't even leave. They're now worried that they're going to be arrested. And Karen knows this, but it doesn't slow down her requests, right? And at the top here, sorry, I can see that's actually from 9/25. So this is 2 days earlier. She asks Aidan Kearney to send her a better picture of where the cameras are at Brian Albert's apartment. Why does she need to know that?
Is she going to break in?
Or hurt him or what? I mean, like, seriously, but they clearly, they want to see these people without being seen now.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It's, can you creep up there and get me the photos I need, or are there Ring cameras everywhere?
I mean, this is more work than the suspect who took Nancy Guthrie.
That's exactly
didn't even realize there was a camera at the door. So
right.
Oh, unbelievable. Okay.
All right, these are from the bottom again. Yes. Yeah. So she says, prove this is you and not Bukkake. LOL. It's a funny joke. And then she says, funny Chris doesn't mention you screaming his son is a murderer or that you held a sign that he killed someone. Who goes into a ton of specifics but doesn't mention any of that? So she's not happy that Chris Albert isn't complaining more about the stuff that she sent Aidan out to do, right? Like, why couldn't he do it? This is concerning too. She says, why can't we have someone post outside Moakley on Thursdays? All right. Now these are federal witnesses at this point, guys. They've been subpoenaed in, summoned in to testify as witnesses at a grand jury. And to do that, they have to go to federal court at Moakley on Thursdays. Karen Reed wants them followed and monitored there too, as they are walking into court to testify. Why can't we? And then she wants the photos of the cameras at Brian Albert's in Norwood resent because she forgot to save them. Silly her. And she needs to know where the cameras are at this guy's apartment to do things that are totally legal. No big deal. Nothing to see here. Totally legal. No big deal. Now she's sending more biographical information. She sends a photo, is the one before that, and says that that's the wedding with all the McCabe's, Sean McCabe, OMFG, these people. I'll let you go through it. And then this is the message where she most explicitly is acknowledging and relishing in the pain that she's causing. So 9/29, this is, I believe, the Jen McCabe attempt at the restraining order, right? It was either that or Chris Albert. It was one of them went up. It might have been, I think this one was actually Chris in September. It definitely was, because it was days after that scary incident that he had at the select board meeting. So yeah, that makes sense. And this is Chris Albert that she's talking about. So Chris Albert goes in, he tries to get a restraining order. It's denied. And she says they have to. Look at what you've done to their reputations and to my jury pool. Chris's business is the next casualty. Just a matter of time. This isn't about censoring. So I think she's talking about with that, the restraining order. They're not trying to censor you. They're scared, is what she's saying. Right. They are all shocked that a judge is denying all these harassment orders, and then it truncates, right? But right here, she is acknowledging that, look, you are hurting these people. They have to try to get restraining orders. Look at what you're doing to their reputation. Look at what you're doing to my jury pool. Let's go after Chris Albert's business next. That's the next casualty.
I think it's funny that she says this isn't about censoring, because he harps on that so much, right? Like, that's his whole thing, is that it's the First Amendment and people are just trying to censor him. And here is Karen Reed right here telling him, nope, that's not what it's about. What it's about is they're scared. You're hurting them.
Right. And then she goes on to explicitly say again, you're asking them to confess to killing a cop. So Karen Reed says what Aidan Kearney doesn't want to admit, but that's the truth. That is changing their testimony. You are asking them to confess to a crime that they didn't commit, right? They've already testified 5 times at this point. No one is saying they killed John O'Keefe. Nobody did kill John O'Keefe. The testimony is locked in. We know what it is. He knows what it is because Karen Reed has already sent him grand jury information and everything else through John Silvera, through Natalie, right? Like, we know what they've testified to. And she's saying you're asking them to confess to killing a cop. You're asking them to change their testimony. Right. And then we go on again. And I think we already went through those messages, but that's the wedding with the McCabe's. Yeah. This one is where she says this is not public, but check out the first item. We obviously can't see the file, but she's sending him non-public documents. And then this, I don't know how this must have actually just kind of slipped in. Sorry, Lydia, but I loved this one because this is a comment from one of his followers on the 5th of 2023, calling him out for just posting off the wall theories to get views and no point reporting on this stuff because there's no evidence to back it up. So even some of his followers were seeing it as early as October of 2023.
Yeah, because that's a YouTube comment. Yep.
Here's Karen Reed sending him information from John Celebrate. So I guess sharing phone extractions actually is fine. And then she's talking about how she's now getting novels of information on Chris Albert's unpaid meal taxes, because that's really important to the murder investigation.
Yeah.
And then she's just confirming that he got that as well. And of course, he did write a blog that included Chris Albert's unpaid meal taxes.
And I saw the messages that she's referring to, like this woman was on a mission about the meal taxes and was flooding the inbox. So Karen Reed was right. She was obsessed.
Really important information.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is a good one. I will have all their asses when this is over. So witness intimidation, retaliatory revenge, that's in the statute. She wants revenge. She's saying this right now. When all this is over, I will have all their asses. That's her again, telling him there's a select board meeting tonight. And then she's upset because Chris Albert won't say her name. Even though she is the link between Chris Albert and Aidan Kearney. So she admits this, right?
Right.
She admits this.
That is odd.
Yeah. Yeah. Alan Jackson hates when Karen Reed, the woman who claims not to know who I am, calls me crusty panties. He'll only answer Kate Peter. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. That is my name.
That is funny that she did say she didn't know who you were. I didn't catch that when I was reading this message.
There's so many of them where she talks about me too, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
But she didn't know who you were when you saw her the other day.
Of course she did. Of course she did.
Sure.
So those are those messages. That's not even, I have a couple more, I guess, that we can put out later. Just odd ones from Karen Reed before the signal kind of cuts off, but that's the gist of it. There's a few more surveillance requests because she always wanted somebody surveyed. That's follow these people around was the number one directive here, and he did it.
Yeah. And I think it's probably a good lesson if you're just following people 24 hours a day and constantly taking photos of them, you're going to find some coincidental, things that happen.
Yeah.
They might be on the same street at the same time. How nefarious and evil. What if they both went to Chipotle? Then what are we going to do? But it takes a large volume of that type of surveillance to get that done.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? I mean, they're just pulling everything they can and throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, just to cause chaos, confusion, to, direct people to look at this so they're not looking at this. I mean, that's all that was. I mean, it's like reading messages between people at a mental facility, like their mental facility messages. It's wild. I still I've read so many of them and I've gone through it so many times and I still cannot wrap my mind around it. I can't get over it.
I have a question. So there was a message. I don't know what the date was. Maybe you can remind me, but it's where between Karen and Aidan saying that Karen was texting him or messaging him somehow about a particular case where the jury pool or the people there, about, I don't know, 40% of them, 30% of them knew who Turtle Boy was. And that just is interesting because that had to be very, very exciting for Karen to realize that a local jury pool for something unrelated is how many people already know who Turtle Boy is.
I'm going to grab that message real quick because there's a word in there that's only mentioned one time, so it's quick. So she says, that's awesome. Oh, she says, let me see. I don't have his message because this did come through Signal. So, but she reacts to his message. And so the text of his message is included. And he said they just asked 18 jurors if they were biased because they had read Turtle Boy. 7 raised their hands. And she responds, that's awesome. Wow. That's nearly a 40% penetration rate. And the date, just for anybody who's paying attention, was the same time period. It was 9/28/23.
That is an interesting word, right?
What I'm thinking, and what I'm thinking about that, and I just want to point this out, is that I believe that the only case around that time period where they would be asking someone about Turtle Boy that Aidan would be present for would be the Ashley St. Angelo case. So that case actually originated in, I believe it was either Fitchburg District Court or Worcester, but it was up in his area. So at that time, he actually had more of an influence on that area than he would have on the area that she was targeting. She's probably not astute enough to understand that, right? And also, he doesn't clarify what that bias could be, because if he went a little bit deeper, people in the Fitchburg, Worcester area hate him and therefore may be inclined to acquit a defendant just because of the name Turtle Boy attached as the alleged victim, which coincidentally is what happened in the Ashley St. Angelo case. She was actually acquitted. Just saying. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that has to be very, very exciting for her to know that he is someone who has big influence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to bring this back to our federal talk the other night, we all, again, Jackson, Yanati, Karen, her parents, other people at Jackson's firm, like all of these people contributing to Deech, the maximum amounts, right? In 2025, they contributed the maximum amount. As soon as 2026 rolled over, they contributed the maximum amount for this year as well already. Why? Is it because Karen knows all of this stuff is out there? All of this stuff is on her phones. All of this stuff is on Aidan's phones. From what I forget, is it Jonathan Hall that keeps reporting that she's actively under investigation right now?
Yeah, he did this week twice, I think.
So what is this why they want Deech, who was involved in questioning the witnesses, who was involved in, Karen's federal investigation? Is this why they all want him in so badly? Because of, and we don't even have the half of it. We don't even have probably a third of it,
Oh God,
because
no.
Aidan had how many phones that they took? 5?
I don't even know.
I don't think that the other phones I don't think the other phones probably hold much of substance. I do tend to believe his story that they're just old phones. I believe that there were 2, maybe 3 active phones that he was using, definitely 2. And those are the 2 that they've extracted, or like the definite ones that he was actively using. The reason that we don't have all of it is because of their strategic use of the Signal app. So the only thing I can say is, again, he took screenshots. I can tell by the context of messages that he was taking and sending screenshots of his Signal messages. Because we don't have the images folder, I can't see what those screenshots are, but the cops can. And also we don't have the physical device, but the cops do. So what we're seeing appears to be like a cache of like notifications, something, because they're truncated. So we're seeing like sort of like snippets, like accidental grabs of information from Signal. Presuming that the phone obviously was set to airplane mode and that it's relatively preserved. We don't know how many Signal messages are there natively when you just open the app. There could be more.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, so just in the snippets that we've gotten, though, look at how damning some of these comments are that she's made.
Yeah.
And
what if
you
they
want
have
to know? Yeah. And you want to know why she wants him, and they all want him in office.
Well, yeah, and I think that's. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go.
I think that's sort of like something that people need to talk about, because I see a lot on Twitter with these free Karen Read people like, oh, this is a nothing burger. First of all, they're highly incriminating messages. And I have some more honest free Karen Read people that have come into my DMs and expressed genuine concern with their contents, as I think they should, like just objectively. But what are the odds? Like, again, this is a fluke. It's a very small sliver of incidentally captured information from Signal that nobody was anticipating, right? What are the odds that you take a quick sliver of a snapshot of their communications and come back with that much incriminating stuff? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like there's a bunch of messages of them just discussing the weather or how scared Karen is about her case and how she hopes they find the real killers. No, we have nothing but planned surveillance and intimidation and relishing in the results and talking about the jury penetration rate that Kearney can have. What a gross term to use.
I know. Why that word?
Yeah.
But when you just think this is the sliver that was picked up, imagine what wasn't.
Yep.
True.
Yeah, like I just for the fun of it, because one thing I've noticed is I have not come across, that doesn't mean there's not, a bunch about the crowds. So I just searched standout and there are only 2, and they're not between Karen and Aidan. They're between random emailers emailing Aidan. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's hard to know what's in there.
So if you think of the mindset too, okay, so let's say Karen is convinced that they beat up John and killed him. In her mind, she has to be wondering why, right? I mean, if she's trying to solve this, there's really no communications of like Higgins, or it's more of just like surveillance and looking at things, but there's no actual emotional and cognitive thought process going on that's like trying to actually be logical about it. I mean, I would think she would be really, really concerned about Higgins, thinking maybe he was the reason that, they beat up John or something. Like, you would think there would be more substance there if she really, really was trying to figure something out. Instead, this feels like a teenage girl trying to escape accountability, trying really hard to prove to herself that she didn't do it because she was blackout drunk and probably has really clear memories of things she did, but she is somehow too narcissistic, too arrogant to accept accountability and acknowledge this was her. This was just clearly her.
Yeah, well, it was like I said earlier, like it was just a bunch of spaghetti they were throwing at the wall just to distract. And just to point out, this is actually before she started blaming Higgins. This was still, she was on her Colin roll at this point until they proved he wasn't in the house. And then that's when it switched over to Higgins. But, it just was absolute chaos. Surveil everyone, send me pictures of everything, take pictures of this person's house, as many as you can. Tell me where this person's doorbell is. I mean, it's insanity. And they were just all it was just distractions. And 2, I think, like you said, Tuesday, I think she was also trying to convince herself.
You know what I just thought of too, is she told she lied to Aidan and said she never laid a pinky finger on Higgins.
Right.
So if she is concerned about these guys beating John up, that would be probably the most logical first place to go to would be Higgins. I had this relationship with him. You know, I think it was really him. He had a jealousy or whatever. None of that. In fact, she separated herself from that to Aidan. Like that was not even a thing.
She probably had to come up with a way to, she had to find a way to spin those text messages because she was the aggressor in those text messages. It's very obvious. No matter what Free Karen Reed wants to say, if you have a, if you're looking at it with just any normal person can see she was the one going after him.
Yeah.
So I think she was trying to probably, I don't know, but I think she was staying away from them for that reason.
Yeah, she wanted to make him look like a liar before he ever got the chance to testify.
Which an innocent person wouldn't do. They'd be like racking their brain. What happened? Oh my God, I hooked up with Higgins a few times. Keep this on the down low. Like, I really think he may have had jealousy. Like, maybe that's a route we need to go down.
Right. Why wouldn't you think of that? It's so much more logical.
Than a 17-year-old
Karen's concerned
boy.
about her.
Right. Who wasn't there.
She's concerned about her reputation. She didn't want anyone to know that. And so that's why she lied about it. So she was never going to admit to that. But these phones are going to kill her in the civil cases. She's done. Like, there's no way. She's done, because there's no way she's going to, she is not going to prevail in her own lawsuit. And when the plaintiff's attorneys, when the O'Keefe's attorneys get a hold of these phones, in the wrongful death case, they're going to just absolutely gut her with them. I can't even imagine what she's got on there.
Oh, it's wild. I will say I have a whole new appreciation for people who can go through this stuff. My God.
Oh my God, I know.
It's brutal. But I will say that what you said last week, Julie, to me, reading this stuff really makes your point that her goal was to get this dismissed. That was what 100%. She spun up. And it just comes so into focus when you see everything they threw during this time period, everything they threw at the feds, and every bit of the conspiracy that, is like a big cotton candy machine. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't understand how they didn't.
It's really sad.
I don't know. I don't understand when you have somebody. I think you're behind, Julie. It's okay. You go ahead.
That's a long delay.
I know. It's really delayed.
Yeah, everything is frozen for me, you guys. So I'm sorry.
It's okay. I think we lost Kate too. I am a little bit curious since people are bringing up that
everything was frozen
and Jonathan were reporting on the fact that she is being investigated. But what they said at her here at the clip that somebody posted after her hearing is in the Jonathan Hall clip. It says she's being investigated for witness tampering. It didn't say witness intimidation.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I wonder
that's
what
not like a separate charge in Massachusetts, though. So I think that's just like probably Jonathan Hall misspeaking or whatever, because we don't have a witness tampering statute.
Okay.
It's all witness intimidation.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you,
Gotcha.
Kate. Thank you. Well, you guys got anything else?
I think I starred a few things to.
Do you
if we
guys
want
recall?
Go ahead.
Has she ever said, like, point blank, I'm innocent? I can't remember seeing a single message where Karen says, I'm innocent. In all the messages we saw between
No, I don't remember
Do you
seeing
guys
anything
remember?
where she said that.
I haven't come across it. No.
There's only 26
I mean, that's interesting,
instances.
right?
Yeah,
She
it
never
is.
says that.
Everybody else says it, but you're right. She doesn't.
You're looking now?
I'm looking now. So there are 26 messages
Interesting.
in this section that I'm looking through, and I'm through 13 of them, and none of them are from Karen. A few of them are about Karen. They're like, some granny is like, I'm so happy fighting for an innocent woman. But no. Okay, so I'm up to 19. Nope. No. 26 of 26. Not one is from Karen, not one is from Aidan. They are all from emailers or messages to him, either talking about Karen or talking about other cases. He does actually get quite a bit of email just on other random news stuff. So
that he ignores and gets angry about because it's not Karen Reed. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
She also, I don't know if you came across this message, and my gosh, I wish I had sent it to you, but she says there's something really odd. And of course, this is without context because it's from Signal. But she says something to the effect of the state's case is slowly starting to merge with the truth or something like that, which I found to be really odd for her to say.
Let's see if I can find it.
I didn't see that. Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like
I remember the message you're talking about.
Right. It was a weird thing to say.
It was very weird.
Well, I think too, we see a lot of her financial terminology. I think merging and penetration, isn't that also a financial term? Like you can kind of just see her terminology.
It wasn't the term that I found odd, though. It was the fact that she's essentially conceding that, like, they're getting some things right.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember thinking it was very strange and not, like you said, there's no context with only having half of a Signal message. So sometimes it's hard to put those pieces together. So, and I will say just on the 26 instances of innocent, that is in one section of this ginormous report. So the section that we pulled the Signal messages from that have the notifications of Facebook messages, etc., that's in there. So there may be other things in other sections, but it's kind of a beast. So, yeah.
Yeah, here's
wild.
She did not beat 2 murder trials.
Right.
There's just these common phrases that you see in arguments on Twitter that just get repeated over and over. And you know what? The other day, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I had tweeted out a question regarding the case for people who believe Karen was framed, which I haven't really done in a long time because, it's over and I'll talk about it if people want to engage. But it was directed towards people who support her. And I was very, very curious regarding where they think Karen broke her taillight, because obviously, as we know, Dr. Welcher did all the digital, he used lasers to put those cars together, and it just would not physically could not happen. And then, of course, we have Dr. Wolf in the first trial being asked if it was possible to cause that damage. He said no. And then, of course, like we talked about not too long ago, ARCA going into the second trial, they had every opportunity to do their own measurements to be like, our client, hit his car and this is how. So I wanted to know how they justify that or come to terms with that in their mind. Like where'd she break it?
Right.
And I will say one person was being kind and really trying to have a logical conversation with me about it. But for the most part, it was like the things that were coming out were just like, are you guys okay? Like, I'm done even trying to have a logical conversation. It's like talking to a wall.
Yeah. And then I had one person said there was some nonsense comment like that, where you can tell the ones that are just going to do this circular argument, they're never going to acknowledge what you're saying. And so this person did that 2 or 3 times and then said, this is where I usually get the block. Like that's some big flex. Like I'm so obnoxious that by my 3rd circular logic comment, I get blocked. I don't know if that's really a brag.
No.
Oh, that's a federal charge. So the tampering with a witness, victim, or informant is a federal charge. Okay, so that is one of my questions. So I'm glad you brought that up, Drew. And I was going to see if somebody knew the answer to that, because is it by design a federal charge? So there are any attorneys out there that is interesting, though, that tampering is a federal charge.
Well, I mean, that's even more than takes me right back to Deech. If that's truly what's being looked at, I mean, there you go.
Yep.
Great point.
But I mean, we don't, obviously, I don't know. Do we have any proof of that the feds are investigating? Or that would shock me, actually.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. But I wish that there was a little more clarity in those news statements. It was a strange time and place to say that very brief statement with nothing behind it. So I'm pretty curious about that.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yep.
So, and somebody saw your post that you're talking about Tuesday. They said that was great. So, all right, guys. Well, you want to call that a wrap?
Good show, guys.
Yeah, good job. That was awesome.
I didn't even finish my popcorn.
You better hang on to that for a while.
Thanks for coming on, Kate.
No problem. Just real quick, I see that Chick from the Bricks asks if this is available. And I just want to reiterate that, like, no, it's not. I can't share it because there's just too much sensitive stuff in there, honestly. So there is no way that I think legally or ethically I can put the entire contents of this man's cell phone on the internet. Like, trust me, if there was a way that I thought that it was either ethical or legal, then I would, but I don't think that it's either, really. So I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So you'll just have to rely on us. Sorry.
Well, thank y'all so much for coming. I think Tuesday and I will see you next weekend, right?
Yep.
Will we? What are we doing?
We don't know yet.
Oh, that's right. It's going to be Thelma and Louise next week.
Thelma and Louise.
We're riding solo. So
yeah. So we'll come up with something completely insane to do with y'all next week.
All right.
Crossword puzzles.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, good job again, ladies. And we'll talk soon.
Okay, bye.
Good night.
Bye.
How do you prove a conspiracy? You need to see people's phones. We live in the 21st century. That's how conspiracies are conducted.
Do you have any clue what's on my phones that they took?
Everybody knows a message with Karen Reed on Signal, right? And ours auto delete after 4 hours, right? She set it up that way. I didn't set it up.
How do you prove a conspiracy? You need to see people's phones. We live in the 21st century.
Do you feel like you're an advocate for the defense?
No, sir. That is my best guess. I don't recall from a year ago.
When I asked you to guess, I'm asking for your testimony. Did you ever delete texts?
From last year?
Yes.
Yes.
That's how conspiracies are conducted.
Do you feel like you're an advocate for the defense?
No, sir. That is my best guess. I don't recall from a year ago.
When I asked you to guess, I'm asking for your testimony. Did you ever delete texts?
From last year?
Yes.
Yes.
We are trying to affect the jury pool. We are. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm.
Everybody knows a message with Karen Reed on Signal, right? And ours auto delete after 4 hours, right? She set it up that way. I didn't set it up.